Foreign ministers from Latin America and Canada who'd gathered in Chile to discuss the crisis in Venezuela were caught totally off guard by Caracas' decision to hold snap presidential elections, from which most opposition parties have been banned.
This decision by the Venezuelan government, which we reject, impedes the realization of democratic, transparent and credible elections.
One of Venezuela's best-known government opponents is here asking for more. 2 months ago, the former mayor of Caracas, Antonio Ledesma, escaped from house arrest and fled the country. Ledesma is asking Latin American nations to follow the example of the United States and the European Union by imposing sanctions on high-ranking Venezuelan government officials. But he is going much, much further, saying here what most opposition leaders who are still inside Venezuela dare not ask for in public. Ledesma tells Al Jazeera Venezuela needs what he described as humanitarian intervention, which he concedes could mean the use of force.
Venezuela needs to be liberated from this dictatorship, this tyranny. We're already invaded by the Cubans. Venezuela needs a humanitarian intervention by the UN or whatever international organization. We don't want the world to come later and give us its condolences when democracy is already dead.
Regional leaders are increasingly frustrated with efforts to convince Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro to restore basic democratic freedoms and accept transparent, supervised elections, which would take at least 6 months to prepare. Venezuela's foreign minister, who was in Santiago for an earlier regional gathering, reacted angrily to the meeting of his peers.
The same imperialists who instructed the European Union to sanction Venezuela, they instruct and subordinate these governments to attack Venezuela.
Some speculate President Maduro moved up the election date as a show of force ahead of a new round of negotiations between government and opposition leaders scheduled for Monday. But if Caracas insists on moving ahead with what some see as a further power grab, some could be persuaded to do more than just shake hands with those who argue that the time for talking is over. Lucia, Newman, Al Jazeera, Santiago.